your I didn't start it, but I definitely finished it moment? My neighbor Karen had been complaining about everything for 2 years. My music was too loud at 2 p.m. on a Saturday. My car was parked 3 inches over some imaginary line. My dog barked when the mailman came. She'd call the HOA daily with new complaints, always with that smug smile when she saw me outside. But Karen wasn't just targeting me. She made the mailman's life hell, complained about kids playing in the street, and even called code enforcement on elderly Mr. Castillo for having a slightly overgrown hedge. She'd stand at her window with binoculars, literally hunting for violations. The breaking point came when she got my neighbor Mrs. Park fined $500 for having too many garden gnomes. Mrs. Park had been collecting them for 20 years. They brought her joy after her husband died. These weren't tacky plastic ones either. They were beautiful handcrafted pieces from local artists that she'd carefully arranged in a whimsical garden display. I watched Mrs. Park cry as she started boxing them up, her arthritis making it painful to bend down. Karen smugly told me over the fence, rules are rules. Maybe now people will respect property values around here. Some of us actually care about maintaining standards. That's when I decided Karen needed a reality check she'd never forget. Here's what Karen didn't know. I'm a wedding photographer, and I'd been unconsciously documenting her hypocrisy for months. Every time she violated an HOA rule herself, I'd casually snap a photo during my daily walks with my professional camera. Her garbage cans left out 3 days past pickup. Click. Her Christmas lights still up in February while she complained about others in January. Click. Her son's loud motorcycle revving at midnight while she called about my afternoon music. Click. The giant inflatable Halloween decorations she left up until Thanksgiving. Click. Her fence that was clearly 6 inches taller than regulations. Click. I also started intentionally timing my walks during her worst moments. Karen screaming profanities at the landscapers, documented with audio. Karen letting her unleashed dog run through other people's yards while reporting leashed dogs, captured. Karen parking her massive SUV across 2 visitor spots every weekend, evidence secured from multiple angles. But I didn't stop there. I reached out to other neighbors who'd been victimized by Karen's crusade. Turns out everyone had stories, and many had photos too. Mr. Castillo sent me pictures of Karen's parties that went until 2 a.m. with music louder than mine ever was. The young couple down the street had security footage of Karen going through their recycling bins looking for violations. Even the mail carrier agreed to write a statement about her harassment. I compiled everything into a beautiful slideshow with timestamps, dates, GPS coordinates, and specific HOA rule citations. The presentation was titled Selective Rule Enforcement, a Neighborhood Case Study. I made it look professional, like a legal document with charts showing the disparity in complaint patterns. Then I anonymously emailed it to the entire HOA board, the property management company, every single neighbor on our street, and the local news station with the subject line, Concerned Neighbor Documentation, Request for Fair Enforcement and Investigation of Harassment. The response was nuclear. Within 48 hours, Karen received 17 different violation notices totaling $3,400 in fines. Her phone started ringing non-stop with complaints from other neighbors who finally felt brave enough to speak up. The local news even picked up the story as an example of HOA abuse. The HOA president called an emergency meeting about selective enforcement and neighbor harassment. Karen showed up looking completely defeated, realizing her reign of terror was over. Half the neighborhood attended just to watch her squirm. The best part? As part of her settlement to avoid legal action for harassment and a potential class action lawsuit, Karen had to personally apologize to Mrs. Park at the next meeting, pay her $500 fine, and help reinstall every single garden gnome exactly where Mrs. Park wanted them. She also had to write handwritten apology letters to every neighbor she'd wronged and attend anger management classes. Mrs. Park got her gnomes back, plus Karen had to spend an entire Saturday helping arrange them while the whole neighborhood watched and laughed. Now Karen waves politely, minds her own business, and ironically became the most rule-following neighbor on the street. The whole street is peaceful now, kids play freely again, and our property values actually went up once Karen stopped being the neighborhood psycho. Sometimes the best way to stop a bully is to give them a professional-grade taste of their own medicine served ice cold.